Hello everyone, greetings and welcome back to another video here at Tony Sports Games. I realized the last tutorial video kind of cut off abruptly. As you could probably guess, if you've watched these before, I originally had swapped back to this screen, the depth chart screen, and it was like a half hour longer. I went through line by line filling out a depth chart for running and then one for passing for this team, our tutorial team. And then after I kind of clipped it up, I decided to split it up, and then I decided there will be plenty of time for me going through a depth chart in a playthrough. I just thought let's not. Yeah, I just thought let's not. So what I did, we kind of were ending the last video talking about the depth charts, deciding what players to play, who should start, etc. We were looking on the Wolverine Studios website at some of the guides available, what attributes are important in different situations. So these are all the things that you're going to use if you are setting your own depth chart. In part one of the depth chart tutorial, we kind of looked at how you can have the coaches do it. But if you want to do it on your own, that's what the last video was about. So I just want to put a bow on this because I really do want to move on. So what I did is I came back from the end of the last video. We're talking about ratings, player traits, situations. And I came back here and I filled out a depth chart for this Kentucky squad. Now this first package, the default package, you cannot rename it. So unfortunately it just stays named default. But what I did is I did one obviously here that's meant to be for running plays, and then I did a separate one for passing plays. So you can see there's a few names that are the same. Our running back on this squad is Jared Wolford. He's the best player on this team, and he would start in. He would play a lot on both running and passing downs. Our wide receiver one, I left the same. For running plays specifically, your wide receivers. It's like what's important. You can sort by run blocking. I actually found this guy, if you guys remember from the training camp videos, the guy that was fatigued, Robert Sally. He's actually the best run blocker of any of the receivers on this team, so I put him in here in the slot. If we were running from 3 wide receiver sets, the slot's going to be closest to one of the outside linebackers, so not saying he's going to be pancaking anyone, but. And then I just looked at kind of speed on running plays, run blocking and speed. If you run jet sweeps, which I don't think are great in this game, but one position I would take a look at. This one, center. When I was looking at finding which of these two centers would start for my run plays, you can see some of the main attributes are very, very close. Like strength, there's a difference of 6. Actually, Langston has the advantage. Patterson has crazy strength, but run blocking, Stone at 86, Langston at 90, which is elite. All 3 of these guys have really nice skill, but this was the difference. This is kind of a secondary thing for offensive linemen, or even lower than that. But if you guys remember, I can't remember if I mentioned it early, but outside running plays, especially sweeps, there's a lot of running back sweep plays in this game. The center is usually the offensive lineman that's pulling to the outside. There's not a lot of plays where the guards pull, just kind of how it is. So if I was setting up this depth chart, especially if I ran a lot of outside runs, I would have started Charles Stone as my center. What you could do is make one running package for, let's go back here. When you look at your formations, you could do one package for like your general run plays where you'd have a mix of inside and outside runs for like spread, shotgun, And then if you wanted to take a couple of your formations and make them mostly inside runs, like let's say wishbone, I formation, you could have a separate run package like that you call like the power run package. So if I decided to do that, maybe for that one I would put Langston or even Patterson, crazy strong but slow, in there if they're just down blocking, straight ahead. Anyway, that's enough about that. When I went through the passing depth chart, I kind of let's see if there are any other position battles that were close. I remember for my guard positions with this team, I have really one guard who I feel is going to be a really good pass blocker, and that's just this Jordan Vasquez. Even though his overall isn't that high, he's very strong and very good pass blocker. Other than that, it was, my other guard spot in passing situations. The best pass blocker by skill is this David Kirshner, who I did end up putting here at right guard. And maybe, maybe I would swap these because I usually put the best pass blocking tackle at left tackle. So Vasquez. I might do something like that, but anyway, if I was playing this out, I would keep an eye on this second guy, David Kirshner, because he isn't the strongest. He does have decent agility for a guard and decent pass blocking, but if he was giving up sacks left and right, there is definitely a possibility I would switch to this guy, Casey Boehm, who does not have great pass blocking, only 74, but when you look at his kind of physical tools, hands are the same, intelligence is basically the same, a little more agility, a ton of strength. Actually, now that I look at this again, I might even switch that. On the inside, I really want guys that can anchor. Yeah, I did this real quick. I think I would actually switch, but hey guys, it's Tony. Just interrupting this video real quick. As you probably noticed, in my sleep-deprived state, while trying to explain how I would switch those two guards on passing plays, I accidentally swapped out Vasquez instead of Kirshner. What was it, Vasquez? I don't know. Maybe I'm still sleep deprived. Anyway, I meant to swap out the other guy. Hopefully you guys knew what I meant. As you can tell, my patience is wearing thin on talking about depth charts anymore, at least for a few days. So let's just get back to it so we can finish this video and get on to the next one. Thank you all so much. Nonetheless, that was my overall thoughts on this depth chart as I filled it out were that, oops, sorry, my alarm. Almost time to go to work. My overall thoughts were that this offensive line is going to be better overall at run blocking than pass blocking. And when I looked at the, my skill positions, the best player on this team is this running back. So if I was playing this team out for the year and I was setting my own scheme and playbooks and everything, I would definitely run a balanced offense. I would try to give this guy the ball a lot. So we'd probably be running it a lot. On defense, sorry, if I wanted to fill out my own depth chart, I would look at, whatever defensive scheme I wanted to run. I typically look for my interior defensive linemen to be kind of those run stuffing, so I focus a lot on strength. I might sort by overall, but then out of these top 87, 87, 86, 86, we have 4 guys that are very close in overall rating. I would probably look among these guys, and it so happens that these top 2 guys have the top 2 in strength, so good chance I might start these guys at defensive tackle 1 and 2, but I'd look into it a little more. Another thing, as you guys probably noticed when I look over at the formations tab, because you might ask, well, how many depth charts should I do? If you're just starting out and you want to do one for run plays, one for pass plays, and then one for defense. That's fine. But when you get a little more into the game, you see they actually give us the tools here where I could use a different package in every formation. I can even use a different defensive package for short and medium. So let's say like, first, second, third, fourth, and 1 to 4, or I don't know, 1 to 5, and then 5 to 5 plus. I'm not sure what this medium, maybe this is like 4 and 5, this is 6 plus. I don't know if they've exactly said. But so you could use a lot of different depth charts. I could make one on defense for 3, 4. Okay, then I could make one for 4, 3. I could make one for nickel, dime, etc. Every formation if you want to. And I might focus on a few different things. If I'm in a 3-4, then even or 3-3-5, even my defensive ends, I'm probably going to lean towards, out of these top few options, like maybe the strongest two guys. Whereas, when I get into the 4-3, really strength and speed. So, like we have a little boost in speed here compared to this guy. So maybe if I was filling this out, this guy might start in like 3-4. This guy might start in 4-3. You can even get into, like, if I have a bunch of solid defensive tackles, are any of them really fast by defensive tackle standards? Like, oh, this is my fastest one. Look, he has pretty good skill at defensive end. So if I was going through this depth chart, I might say, well, on 3-4 and 3-3-5 plays, when it's short to go, the third and 1 to 4, maybe I would put this guy at one of the defensive end positions, probably right defensive end. Yeah, kind of my run stuffer. I want my best pass rushing defensive end to be at left end going against the opposition's right tackle, especially in online, I guess, because most people put their best pass blocking tackle at left tackle. But anyway, nonetheless. So, yeah, to wrap this up, there's a lot of different tools with how far you want to go into this. If you say, I just want to set one, then look at what your main strength is going to be, or your main scheme is going to be, and fill it in accordingly. When you choose a nickel and dime back your third and fourth corners, it doesn't have to be a corner. A safety can play in these spots too, and they'll do just fine. I usually look at speed, intelligence, agility, hands for your free safety. They're kind of that center fielder. Tackling is always important in the secondary. Strong safety, going to be in the box a little bit more, so maybe a little less important. Top end speed. Speed's always important, but if you're going with a zone heavy scheme, maybe you want someone that can come up and lay the boom. Depends if you play more man or zone coverage. What things you look for in your corners and linebackers, but a lot of things to take into account. As we mentioned before, you can let your coaches set it, or you can do it yourself. I kind of want to move on from this, as you can probably tell. In my playthrough, I'll have plenty of time to dig into my roster of my team I'm going to be playing with. I just wanted to show how to do it for the tutorial. So if you have more questions on depth charts, just let me know. I will answer them the best I can. But I think I would like to wrap this up because I want to move on to some more things. So let's just wrap up on game plan. I want to get to recruiting so bad. I love recruiting. It's the biggest thing in this game. Let's wrap up kind of our game plan stuff here. If you choose to do some of these things yourself, you can Create new. You can make a new game plan for every opponent you play, especially as the season goes on. You know, you may look at your you know, matchup. It's hard week one. You don't know what these guys have yet, but if I look at stats, if I look at roster, you know, you can look at the opposition's starters. Okay, so maybe I want to look at their offense. Okay, look at who's the best players on this team. I got 2 wide receivers, a quarterback. I don't know if their scheme is pass heavy, but if I was playing these guys week one, I would definitely be focusing one of these guys, you know, in my game plan. Likewise for defense. Where's their greatest strength? Looks like, let's see. Look, we have a defensive end, 87 strength, 77 speed, kind of a monster, and 70 tackling. Jeez. You know, so looks like we have kind of a mix here. Defensive end, several secondary players, kind of balanced defense. His greatest weakness, if you wanted to say that, I mean, looks like maybe right up the gut. You know, as I looked at my team, looks like my guards and centers are kind of good run blockers, so maybe I would put a run-heavy game plan together against these guys. It gets easier as the season goes on. You have their stats you can look at to see what plays are they running and, you know, who's getting the ball the most and things like that. But when I play against these guys, let's just say Young McCracken. Great name. Great name. So if I playing against these guys week one, I want to make my own game plan. I usually leave this unbalanced, especially week one, but let's say I use mixed coverages. Let's pass rush with the defensive line. Player radio, I'm going to look at which of my defensive starters has high intelligence, maybe leadership also. This is who's relaying the calls to the defense, so if you have someone that has high intelligence, that gives you a little bonus. And then I'm going to focus Young McCracken. And counter strategy, I don't know whether he's a long, medium, or short passer without seeing their offense, but let's just say that and versus the blitz. That's how you use these. Set up my offensive game plan according to what I just saw. I'm probably going to try to be pretty balanced. Passing preference, let's just say balance, you know. Passing target. I think my best pass catcher is probably this Alan Sutter guy. Third down back, Jordan Wolford. Goal line back, Charlie Carter. 87 strength, 60 speed. Yeah, you could do him. All right, 74 strength is pretty decent for a running back, so I don't know. If it was me, I think I just want to feed Jared Wolford. And usually in my playthroughs I do running backfield by committee, but this guy is so head and shoulders better than my other running backs. You know, maybe I would do that. You can choose if you're going to call or put more of certain runs into your playbooks. Just keep that balance. I want my running backs to get a small boost on running plays. You know, if he does catch some balls, great, but I usually want that. Tight end roll, whatever, mixed. Yeah, they catch some passes. They block sometimes also. I mean, if I would do a run-heavy offense, I might choose blocking and on and on. Okay, so, yeah. I think I'm ready to be done with this part of the tutorial. So, thanks for watching. Let me know if you have any further questions. Soon, and very soon, we are going to talk recruiting, and I can't wait. It's gonna be great. So, I hope you guys have a wonderful day. Thanks as always for tuning in. Loving the feedback from the community. Also, I keep mentioning from time to time, you know, other guys' content. I was watching some of War Eagles. I'll try to link his channel in here at some point. It's really good. Really nice playthrough he started. Dave also Sharky, you gotta record some more content for us, man. Sharky's so good, and many others too. If you're a content creator for this game, hit me up on Discord. I'll check out your videos too. I love to play them while I'm at work, and on and on. Also, sorry, last thing, I promise. Last announcement here. We are wrapping up my first season in great online league, the Sim Nation College Football League, the SNCFL. I've been playing these games on and on for like since 2017 or 18, but this is my first time in an online league. We're wrapping up our first season, my first season, joining these guys. It's been a ton of fun. Right now we're in the conference championship week. I took over SMU, the SMU Mustangs, in the American Athletic Conference. We are in the AAC championship game in our first season, and I am going to do some SN CFL content, so might preview, well, I'm definitely going to do a season wrap-up, which I think will be really fun. We'll take a look at the whole league, like the Final Four, and then how my team did, share with you guys some of my successes and failures in my first year in an online league, and I think we will do some commentating type content on maybe the Final Four, things like that. We've got some really good teams that are going to be battling it out for the title. So stay tuned for that. That's going to be coming soon. And the recruiting guide, and then maybe a little bit of in-season tutorial, how to get through a season. Other than that, we're going to be starting our playthrough soon. So yeah, thanks again for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye for now.